Nick Sirianni Live, presented by Premier Orthopedic.
That group has accomplished, obviously they haven't won the biggest game, but what they've accomplished in your history with preparing against them, I should say.
Yeah, I have so much respect for this football team. They've had sustained success. Kyle's done an unbelievable job there, and a ton of respect for him and then their players. There is a lot of familiar faces. There are, a bunch of guys that are really good players, which is why they're still playing there. And so can't tell you how much respect I have for this football team. You can see how well coached they are. You can see, again, how talented their players are. You see how hard they play, physical, fundamentally sound. So, I can't say enough about, this team. And, we got to do what the things that we know we need to do to be able to go in there and have success.
Do you have a sense yet of how much that rest will help some of your offensive linemen, and how much can that help it if they're?
I think anytime they get some time off, that definitely helps. That's why we decided to do what we did last week. And so, again, it's a long season, marathon of a season. There's still going to be bumps and bruises that guys are going to have to deal with. That you feel your best the day one of training camp usually, and then these guys are warriors. They battle through things throughout the entire year. And looking forward to getting back out at practice today and working.
What do you think clicked for your defensive line maybe halfway through the season?
I'm sorry, start that again.
What do you think clicked for your D-line? Maybe it was like halfway through the season, the production really increased. What do you think went into that?
Yeah, you're on this quest of in this journey of getting better. Your block destruction gets better, your tackling gets better with the amount of time that you spend working on it. And so that's your goal, is continue to try to play better each week, try to play the best football you can by the end of the year. And it's just the daily grind and the commitment to getting better each day with the work that you put in the classroom, the work that you put in, on the practice field, and then the games that you play every Sunday, or Monday, or Thursday, or Friday, or Saturday.
Saquon had verbalized at times wanting to stop the negative plays from his perspective and do what he can do. How do you think he progressed, talking about the defensive line, how do you think he progressed going on when he sort of verbalized that?
Yeah, obviously Saquon's a phenomenal back, and he's going to continue to get better as the season goes on. And we did a lot as a staff to help out with that. Obviously, execution being better, right? Everything plays into it. And then obviously Saquon, getting the muddy yards that are there. I think about the Washington game a couple weeks ago, that run, 5-yard run, he just kept driving his legs. And then there's runs that are 3-yard runs, even they're 2-yard runs that you're like, man, that was a good gritty run, even though you want to get 4+ each carry. But I think he's done a nice job with that.
You were a couple years ago, prepared for him. Now you're preparing for him again. How have you seen, over this last 2 years, how have you seen his progress?
Yeah, again, I just think he's a winner. He's won everywhere he's went, and really good football player. Does a really good job with the system that they run. Has the ability to extend plays. Has the ability to find guys that are open and find the right receiver. Tough, he's tough. So there's a reason they've been, obviously all the really good players they have and good coaching that they have is why they've had sustained success, but they've had a really steady quarterback through that time as well.
Nick, you were once a first-time play caller. What are the challenges going in for the first time, and have you seen some of them encountered by Kevin, and how's he dealt with things overall?
Yeah, obviously there's always adjustments, and as you go through, I thought he's done a nice job of handling everything that's come his way, staying mentally sharp and staying mentally tough. Because I know there's always going to be criticism, and you're probably not, as the offense coordinator, you might not get as much praise, but you're always going to get some criticism. And but I think he's done a nice job handling that, and I think that. We've done some really good things, and we're getting better as the season goes through. We got to be even more consistent, and obviously there's always times coming out of every game, there's going to be calls you want back. Players are going to have plays that you want back. I'm going to have decisions that we talk through or throughout the week or during the game that I'm going to want back, and that's the nature of this thing.
When you're game planning offensively, how much of it and how do you balance it, doing what you want to do versus being reactive to what you're seeing defensively? What have you found works better?
Yeah, you have to have an identity of what you want to do. I think it starts with that, is having an identity, but that's also, there's a fine line there too. Is like, hey, I want to run this because this is part of our identity. Well, you might have to do some different things to get out of some, hey, okay, well, maybe we don't run it versus this, or maybe we don't run it versus that, because you're setting yourself up and you're not for a bad play potentially. But I think it always starts with an identity. I think the best teams are always going to have an identity that they rest on, and that's what we've been trying to continue to accomplish throughout this year. And we know a lot of the things that we're good at and that we want to continue to try to press. But they're watching tape too, and they're going to have answers for that. And so there are things that you can call and run, and there's some things that part of your identity that you call on your terms, and you have both of those things as you going through.
Do you think you found the identity?
I do. I think we are continuing to get better through that, and I think that it's shown in these last some of these last games. And obviously, Buffalo, we had a bad half. Where we didn't do a good enough job at coaching. We didn't do a good enough job playing, but I think we have.
In the red zone, you've been so efficient. Just when it comes to the open field, what are the differences in finding that efficiency? Are you able to attack more in those and get what you want in the red zone? And are there? It's a similar deal, right? Again, you want to have identity in the red zone. You want to have identity in the field. You want to be able to attack also what they're doing in those moments as well. Obviously a shorter field. First down either gets you a touchdown or continues your drive. And so, there's elements of how you attack and how you go about, trying to be efficient on both. Again, you always want to be moving the ball forward. When you get behind the sticks in the red zone and you're 2nd and 11 or 2nd and 9, that's hard to score. Well, it's the same thing in the field. When you get yourself behind the sticks, that makes it more difficult. That's why sacks, when you look at sacks or you look at negative plays, they tend to stall drives out. And when you have a lack of an explosive, they tend to. So it's always about staying ahead of the sticks. Obviously, different forms of ways to attack in the red zone, whether it's going for the end zone, whether it's checking it down, whether it's different things like that. But yeah.
5 years replacing Lane Johnson. What changes in the times that he's on the field? Is there a sense of confidence among teammates? Do you call the game differently? What specifically about him changes the offense?
Yeah, one thing that's great about this league are all the the great players that you guys get to watch, we get to coach, we get to scout, we get to game plan against. That's such a cool part of this league. I can't tell you how many times I'm watching tape and I'm like, watching something yesterday and Arizona tight end catches a ball. I'm like, man, this guy's a good player. Or something happens. I'm trying to think who else I said that about. Like Bosa. I'm like, man, this guy's a good player. Whoever it may be, and that's such a cool thing about this game because, but obviously Lane's a big difference maker, and I know he's working like crazy to get himself back, and we'll see where that is this week, and but he's a difference maker. He's one of the best that.
At that position.
He's one of the best that's ever done it. Yeah, again, I think I kind of get too much into scheme with that, but he allows you to, do some different things. But again, Fred's done a nice job when he's came in and played for him. We've won a lot of games with Fred in the lineup. But yeah, Lane is just a difference maker, and it affects it can affect everything. So there's a reason he's going to the Hall of Fame. There's a reason he's going to be in the Eagles Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's one of the best ever to do it at that position, and he shows that year and out through I don't even know what year he's in now at this point. I've been with him for 5 years, and he just keeps getting better. 13. So, and I've just been with him 5 years, and it feels like he just keeps getting better and better, which is a testament to Lane and how he takes care of his body and how he trains and how he mentally approaches this game of football that he loves. So, man, I could go on all day about him.
When it comes to Saquon, his carries are down a good deal from last year. Was that a conscious decision on your part when the season began, and B, how fresh do you see him going?
I think sometimes that's just the flow of games, the way things go sometimes. I know sometimes last year he was out early. Obviously our run game hasn't been as efficient as it was last year, so sometimes you get a little less carries there because you're doing other things with it. So, but yeah, all things I'm excited about where we go forward and, how he's feeling and yeah, excited about this week.
Going into your second playoffs with Vic Fangio as your defensive coordinator, how much does that experience help in these playoffs, but also how have you seen him evolve in his job?
Yeah, like I said about Vic in the past, he's had so much success for decades in the NFL, and so you don't have that if you're just stuck in one mode all the time. He's constantly evolving. He's constantly his defenses are different than when he first started calling defenses, and so he's just always evolving. Loves this game, and works his butt off to put the guys in the best positions that they possibly can be in. And so yeah, I'm just glad he's our defensive coordinator, and he's been a big big reason for why we've had the success that we've had.
Let's talk about just maintaining the edge, coming off the Super Bowl win, and how has it motivated you to kind of maintain the chip yourself to come off and win?
Yeah, you're always judged in this league by your last game. You're always judged in this league by what you've done, here, and it's, I think when I studied a lot of great teams in the past and great coaches in the past, and what was the secret to sustained success, it always came back down to, there's a lot of things that coaches talk to me about, but it always came down to two things: staying in the moment, not looking too far ahead, like, hey, how are we going to do this thing again? There's a lot of work that goes into, achieving the ultimate goal, and there's a lot of steps and there's a lot of process, and you got to go through those things. And then on the other end of the spectrum was like, hey, resting on your laurels. Well, we'll get back there because we done it. Nobody cares in this league, right? You have to put the work in every single day to help yourself continue to get better, to put yourself in position to win each week and win in the playoffs. So we just tried to stay where our feet were there. I know this, for these guys that I coach, I know for myself, it's like, you play a game of pickup basketball. You don't and win the game. You don't take your shoes off and say, I'm content. I mean, we're here in this spot because you want to run it back and you want to play and compete again. It's part of the reason why you're here. That's any game. I don't if I'm playing Surrey with my kids and I win, I want to play again and go again. So I don't let them win that often, but sometimes I do. But yeah, I think that's just the competitive nature of, and why, there's a reason that the people are in this building because they have that hunger. But yeah.
Hey, can you talk about Dallas Goedert, what he's meant to the offense and the red zone success that you've had and how he's played into that?
Yeah, Dallas is obviously a great player. Tough, physical. I think that always comes to my mind when I think about Dallas is his physicality. And you look at the best tight ends in this league, Kittle, who we're playing, Dallas, they have that physicality. They have that anger when they run, and tough to bring down, and that the ability to have yards after catch. So be two great tight ends on the field this week, battling against each other. But yeah, Dallas has obviously been a key piece to the sustained success that we've had, and he's had a good run in the red zone this year. And that frees up other people too in situations with that. So, but yeah, he's had a nice year.
All right, last one. Can you talk about the impact that the development and play that Saquon has had on your team's results over the last two seasons? I think he's probably played as much as any player, and whether you've been surprised at how he continues to evolve.
Yeah, I think after last year and maybe like I think I said last year is like he kind of burst onto the scene, right, to the outside world as we watched him. It's how he brought him to us, and we watched him. We're like, yeah, this guy's really good special teams player, has great athletic ability. And then practice started happening in training camp and in OTAs, and you're like, man, this guy is physical. He's to the ball. He has a knack for the football, and so we don't. I guess we don't get surprised by that because you see it in an everyday setting of the way he goes about his business and the plays that he made in practice and all those different things. But yeah, I would say just so happy for him with the way he has continued to develop his game, and I think he just keeps getting better. Hasn't played a ton inside. Obviously, he's played more than anybody these last 2 years, but but he just keeps getting better and better and better. And I think that's a testament to the athletic ability that he has and the traits that he has, but also the type of person he is and the work ethic that he has and the leader that he is. There's a reason these guys voted him a team captain. And he's just got this, people just want to be around him. And he's an energy giver. And that's huge when you're in the middle of that defense and when you have that C on your chest.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Nick Sirianni Live, presented by Premier Orthopedic.